So I'm Marie. I'm a coordinator for Sunrise Somerville Youth, and we're having a short conversation with Kristen Strezo, who is running for councilor-at-large in our 2021 municipal elections. We're going to be asking a few fundamental questions relating to Sunrise's mission, which is climate justice, and each candidate will have 2 minutes per question, except for the intro, which will have 4 minutes. And we are going to warn you visually and in the chat at 30 seconds remaining, and if you're speaking when time is up, the host will mute you. The questions will be in the categories energy, infrastructure, racial justice, and education. We'd appreciate if you didn't share the questions to keep things fair for all candidates.
All right, so my name is Emily. I'm also a coordinator. I'm just going to be asking the questions and putting them in the chat. So first, we would appreciate it if you would introduce yourself. So give your pronouns, past leadership experience, what you've done to address climate change in the past, and why you are running for office.
Okay, well, I am Councilor Kristen Strezo, she, her, hers. I am a city councilor at large and for the city of Somerville. I love our community and I'm so honored to serve. So my past leadership, I have been in office for a mere year and a half, and I've done so much to both address our community and do as much as I can to make sure that we are addressing the environmental concerns of our region. I've done that also before I was elected. I was part of the STEP Somerville Transportation Equity program, which helped examined the air quality of Somerville residents that live along the I-93 corridor in Somerville. And for working for better air quality, I have been part of the people that are working to put up sound barriers along I-93, because what we know is the residents around the community, it is an environmental justice issue. I have worked in committee and also as a city councilor, and worked with Mothers Out Front and other community members to address gas leaks in Somerville and the death of trees in the community. And there's so much I'd like to do in my next term, now that pandemic recovery is more of a conversation rather than emergency and panic. I feel like that a lot of climate change issues had to be put on the back burner while everyone was trying to either stay in their homes, stay in their communities, stay alive, or help other residents get the basic necessities they need. I've done a lot of this work. I look forward to the dialogue with you. I'm hoping for a partnership with you, whether or not you choose me. I want to hear your voices and how we can collaborate and work together for our best community.
All right, thank you for sharing a bit about yourself. Appreciate it. So now moving into the questions. So our first category is infrastructure. So 2 minutes. Many decisions about public transportation are made at the state level. So acknowledging that, how do you believe Somerville should engage with public transit?
How Somerville can engage with public transit? Well, it's complicated. I've put forward numerous resolutions and up to the state House for Governor Baker, like when it comes to the MBTA cuts, saying as a city councilor that I do not agree with him choosing to cut bus lines and transportation here in the city, saying that it is absolutely an equity issue and should not be happening and cannot be happening in our community. I have protested in the unfair price increases of the MBTA. That was a couple of years ago, and anytime that is absolutely an equity issue. The city of Somerville has plans to make sure that bus passes are free for all Somerville students in the incoming year. I completely support that and want to expand that. And we have to expand it for our lower income residents as well. And let's get towards making MBTA free. But you're absolutely right, this is a state level decision. And so pushing the MBTA and the governor and the administration to do as much as they can to support us and our community to expand more transportation, I very much support and will continue to work for.
Okay, so you touched on this a little bit, but we just would like just to have it on record, a yes or a no. You're welcome to elaborate as well. So do you intend to make the to make the tea free for Somerville residents? Sorry.
Within our capacity, yes. But again, there's also a state issue. But yes, I want that free for Somerville. It should be free for every resident.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to move to energy. So how do you plan to transition Somerville to a 100% renewable energy grid, and by what year do you believe that needs to be done?
I think it should be done as soon as possible. Yesterday, actually. I want it done in 10 years, and that's maximum 10 years. We need to absolutely be divesting from fossil fuels as much as possible. And I have put forward signed on to orders making sure that we're divesting from fossil fuels in every way. As a city councilor, also making sure I want that happening. It is very complex, and it's lousy that it is a very complex issue. We need to be making sure that we're as green as possible as soon as possible. I've put in the work toward that. I will continue to put in the work for that. This is our community. This is our life. This is our earth, and this is our future. I see this as a non-negotiable.
Yes, we absolutely agree with you there. So thank you. So we're moving on to our next category, which is racial justice and social issues. How do you view the future of policing in Somerville, and how have you engaged with the issue previously?
How do I, what is the question again?
How do you see the future of policing in Somerville, and what have you done on the issue previously?
I'm a city councilor, so I have done a lot of work for this, making sure that all voices are brought to the table of what community policing looks like. I know that there's a lot of steps we can take to move some of that there are a lot of situations that we can, that don't necessarily need someone with a gun showing up to an event, like with mental health issues. I've addressed that in numerous ways in my committee as Housing and Community Development, and also listening in various ways, but also listening to our community members, but making sure all of our community members are brought into that conversation. And I'm currently working with the Racial and Social Justice Director on that, and have been. And I'm proud to continue on the work. I want action. I want active steps now.
All right, so continuing in that topic, so how will you help integrate new immigrants, particularly undocumented immigrants, as this is a sanctuary city, into our community, and especially into Somerville Public Schools?
Well, that is very much a, first off, I work for inclusivity here. So when it comes to, first off, we have to make sure all translations of our 5, I've pushed to expand translator services here in Somerville, supporting our immigrant services unit, making sure that they are amply staffed and getting the resources that they need to help our community. That's essential. And also making sure that food access, and also that when it comes to our, for some of our undocumented residents that are establishing issues with our lowest income earners, some of them, making sure that they're getting the resources we need. I've done this in numerous ways as a city councilor. Can I go into it in 2 minutes? But happy to continue on the conversation with that. Especially when it comes to housing. Housing has been a fundamental issue. I have been fighting on the forefront. As the chair of the Housing and Community Development Committee, I've kept it on the agenda every month, the eviction moratorium, and also getting the greatest numbers of what's coming in and possibility. Also making sure food access when, like for instance, because we're coming out of a pandemic. During the pandemic, or just early stages of the pandemic recovery, we've had, we knew that there were a lot of undocumented families that were experiencing shortages of food, and it's been a huge issue. Another thing is making sure that resources like sanitary pads and maxi pads were getting to our our lowest income residents. And I and one other I brought, Judy Neufeld actually brought Dignity Matters to Somerville to help that process. There are numerous.
All right, so sorry we had to cut you off. Just trying to keep these interviews moving quickly. So our next category is education. So within the constraints of the City Council, we are wondering whether you would consider moving toward adapting the Somerville High School vocational program to include green job training.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. In fact, that's what I want to be working on in my next term. I want vocational training. I want expanding on that. I'm trying to put that forward, and I'm trying to work very directly with that. I'm so excited to talk about that because I've been spending all summer researching how we can make that possible, including mentorship programs and getting people into the trades and bringing those trades right here in Somerville. We've got a complete chance for a reset button, and this is where I want to go in my next term. I'm so excited you're talking about this. This has been on my radar for a while, and it's where I think we have to be moving forward to it. I'm so excited. Yes.
All right, I'm glad that you're so excited about that. We would love to work with anyone on that. So
yes, we totally have to be talking about this, and like and the next months, I hope you reach out to me and we can continue on the dialogue. I want this to be happening.
Absolutely. So our final question is in the same category. So how do you believe that public schools generally can prepare students for their future in a world impacted by climate change?
That's a really broad question that I think first and foremost, talking about how everyone has an ownership to our community and everybody is responsible. And I think also one thing I'm really huge on is making sure that everyone knows that we are a community. It's really easy to get trapped in the computer or social media. And I think that us taking ownership, and there are so many active steps we can do together as a community that we need to, looking into each other's eyes as a community and saying at the end of the day, when it comes to climate change, it's all of us or it's none of us. And that is the greatest message that I impart on my children. My 7-year-old, I'd love to take you in his bedroom. He actually wrote on the wall, "I hate climate change." And I can get mad about him writing on my wall, or I can be like, yeah, it sucks and it's wrong. And what are we going to do about it? So my 7-year-old is already invested in trying to make sure he's creating a better world. And I think that's an early lesson we can impart on everyone. And here in Somerville, we are on a great path to that. We really think ahead of the curve in that. We can partner with policies. I want to work with you on policies on how to guide the next generation into this, because this is your community, this is our community, this is all of us, and this is our future. And I want to make sure that I'm doing my part, here I am, to make sure that I'm creating a wonderful future for you too. And I cannot say that enough. There's so much work to do, but it's all of us. And I'm committed to it.